Hey, my friends, thanks for joining us. I'm Raphael James from Live 5 News and the Dope Friends podcast. And just a few days ago, I posted a post. It was a challenge. I called it the Smile Experiment. And in that challenge, I asked you to find five people and to smile at those five people, random strangers, and detail to me what the response was. My hypothesis was that if you smile at people, they will smile back. But I wanted to test it and see. And that's what we're here for today. If you don't mind just dropping where you're from right now, as we go along. So I got some pretty interesting results from the experiment. And I got some people who came up to me and said, this is this is different. Not quite sure how to take this or what I'm supposed to do, but we'll talk about maybe some of the difficulties in the assignment in just a moment. But first, I'll go right into the presentation, really, and it won't take very long. And if you participated, I really do want to hear your feedback because um, that's what makes it have another level of meaning. All right. So the smile experiment started a few days ago. My hypothesis was that, I think smiles are infectious. I think it's pretty hard to look at someone smiling at you in your face and not return that smile. That was what I thought would happen. I just was certain that everybody you smiled at was going to return the smile. And my mother in law, she commented on one of the posts, and I thought this was really cool and really cute, saying, if you see someone who doesn't have a smile, simply give them one of yours. Don't worry, you'll still have plenty left. And that's a really cool way to look at it. Now, here are some of the benefits of offering up a smile to somebody who's currently not wearing one. It brightens the mood of the person, or at least that's what the thinking would be. It would brighten that person. It lifts the atmosphere. And, a smile can be disarming. When you smile at someone, you are kind of making yourself vulnerable. You're opening up. You're saying, hey, how are you? And you're saying, I am not a threat to you. I am friendly. That's what a smile does. Uh, so you feel better, I think, when you smile. At least I do. And especially when the smile is returned. And really, for this challenge's sake, what do you have to lose if you smile and they don't smile back? And I think the benefit there would be you've at least made an attempt to be a decent human being. You've made an attempt to add light to someone else's life. So those are the benefits of proffering a smile. Hey, Laura, I see you from St. George. Thank you very much. The town of friendly people, where I guess everybody is smiling. Thanks, Laura, for joining us. Um, and Carolyn's from South Carolina. Thank you very much for being here on this. Now let's talk about the cons for a minute. The cons of offering a smile. Again, you are vulnerable when you smile at someone and you don't know how they're going to take that. You don't know how they're going to receive your smile. The smile may not be returned. And if you smile at someone and it's not returned, it's like, ooh, I just gave of myself. I just opened myself up to you to show you some friendliness and it was not returned. Or even worse, when the smile is returned with a scowl or meanness. And somebody said, what are you looking at? That can be like, ooh, I didn't really need that. I didn't need drama. I was just trying to do something nice and I get met with this. I didn't need that. So that's when I say you're vulnerable. That's what that is. You open yourself up, you say, hey, I'm friendly. And then whatever you're met with, that can be taken as somewhat of an attack and it can be uncomfortable. Also, when you smile, it opens you up to critical observance. If you hadn't smiled, people wouldn't be able to see the gap in your tooth or the spinach stuck in the side of your teeth, So these are all of the things that can happen when you offer a random smile to strangers. All right. So the data analysis, before I get into the data analysis, let me check out some of these comments. Antoinette, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I had a great experience today, smiling and even talking to some. I've always been a smiling person. I'm from Cross, where there's a lot of lovely people. All right, so there you see it, Cross and St. George. That's where all the friendly people are in South Carolina. Way to go. All right, Kim. Kim is in Adams Run. I'm from Adams Run. I was in the store yesterday and smiled at a woman who looked very sad, and she smiled back. So tell me, Kim, how that made you feel when that happened. I mean, it's a small thing to offer somebody a smile, but in so many ways it can be huge, I think. But yeah, tell me how you felt when that happened. Is that what you expected to happen? We've got Joe. Joe says, usually receive a smile back, then I talk with others. Very, very good. A smile is a great icebreaker. And let's go to Jason. Smiling at you from a couple neighborhoods over. All right, Jason. Appreciate that. All right. So let's go now into what actually happened, the data analysis of my little experiment. In most cases, the smile was returned. In some cases, the smile was returned with an even bigger smile. And what did that do? Well, that made me feel that much better. I offer goodness, I get goodness. And in this moment, we are two people who before had not engaged in that way. So something good has happened just because I offered a smile. That's pretty cool. Even when the person was wearing a mask, a face mask, you can see the smile. The edges of their eyes would turn up. Um, or you can see the cheekbones rise when the smile is returned. Those were the expected data from this experiment. But there was some apprehension, though, as I mentioned a little earlier, as I gave the initial smile. I'm not sure how the person would take it. And sometimes you smile, and if the person just looks at you, it's like, ooh, that stung a little bit. Okay, but you keep it moving. Um, so that, in some cases, I would smile and it just barely part their lips or get out of my way or yeah. But it was very interesting to say the least. Um, Now, here's what some of you say happened. Kim, I want to get to you. Kim says, I felt good because it was like she didn't expect anyone to acknowledge her, and you did. So, very good. And I'm proud of you. And that is what I had hoped we would get to. People who were in a bad space or a space where maybe there was some drama or feeling uh, of negativity, someone coming by with a smile would do something to counter that, if just for a moment. And that's what the experiment was all about. And I'll share a story with you. My son is probably the most gregarious person in my family. I call him Mr. President because everywhere we go, he knows someone and he's talking to someone and he's striking up conversations and he's giving compliments. And so much to the point I'm like, hey, you don't have to speak to everyone. It's cool to, speak to some people. We'll never get out of the store if you have to try to talk to everyone. But that's his style. That's the way he does. And so I was out of town a few weeks ago. I was going through the airport and at the Starbucks, this lady, it wasn't here, it was another city. She seemed like she was having the worst day possible. She had her hair dyed in a different color. But she had such a big frown on her face. She looked like she didn't want to be at work. She had turned around to do something to a drink, and her coworker bumped it spilling the drink. And if looks could kill, there would have been a homicide in Starbucks that day. So I'm like, wow, okay, what can I do? And I said, I heard Grant, my son, and I looked at her and I said, I smiled. I said, I like your hair. And she smiled back and she said, thank you. And her mood softened just a little bit. And it wasn't a huge thing, but it took that situation from here in terms of being negative, in terms of uh, really being upset, and it brought it down just a little bit. I don't know what happened after I left, but for that moment, it brought the temperature down a little bit. And that's what I think this does. So, Kim, way to go. That's awesome. Carolyn says, smiles are the key to anyone's day. Someone who needs a hug and smile to brighten their day. And I agree with that. Deborah says she smiles at the gentleman at the gas station. He offered to pay for my gas. I told him my husband will buy it for me, but thank you, sir. Well, all right. And there you go. And I hear some people saying that too can sometimes be a problem. The old folks used to say, you don't show your teeth to everybody you meet. That was in a song. I can't recall the name of the song right now. Because sometimes people of the opposite sex can interpret a smile as being flirtatious. And sometimes a smile is just a smile, but some people can take it a different way. So you almost got some free gas. I don't know. Your husband might have been okay with him pumping it that day, but that's another story. All right. So that is what I have. So I wanted to share some of your experiences that you shared with me. And Sadie says, when she tried it, she received smiles back. One was to an elderly man, and he gave a big one back to her and said, God bless you. I always give a little smile, she says, no matter what. And I commend you for that, Sadie. That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm glad that situation went that way for you. Orlando said, hey, good luck to y'all. Don't get told off. And I understand exactly what he was saying. Don't go smiling up in somebody's face and get your feelings hurt. And I said, hey, that might happen. You scared? And he said, hey, the look on some of these people's faces, yeah, I'm scared. Um, and I responded to him, you know what? You might be right, but I'm going to try it anyway. And that's what I would encourage people to do, because it's a small thing, but that fear of rejection, that fear of having your offering of a smile returned with the opposite, it's real. Nobody wants to feel that kind of rejection or dejection or bad feelings on the other side, but you try. And on the other side of that try, if you have some of these other kinds of experiences, like some of you have had those good experiences, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it even for the times where your smile is not met with a smile in return. Only Art says, high five to your idea. However, every stranger I ran into this morning had a mask on, but their eyes gave a good bright smile. That's what I'm talking about. You can still see it. There are people who say you can tell if someone is smiling even on the telephone. There's a quality of their voice that you can hear. Even on the telephone, you can hear the smile. Ellie says, I'm always up for a smile challenge. I think we need more positive interactions with each other, and spreading smiles is a small way to try to brighten someone's day. Hopefully it will be better as each day goes by. Absolutely. And Cookie, thank you, Cookie. I love this idea. She says, you have a beautiful smile, my brother. God bless you and yours today. And same to you and your family, Cookie. I appreciate you very much. Michelle says, love this. I've done this experiment many times, sort of a test of where society is. I will say, it seems in these times, far less people are even paying attention enough to notice. That's right. You can smile and their head is in the phone and they won't notice, or their mind is 1,000 miles away. So that is a possibility. Thank you, Michelle, for that. So that is how my experiment went for this week. The conclusion is the data is inconclusive. I think we need to continue running tests to see what happens. I need more data. So if you would go out, smile at 5 random people, and let me know what happens. We'll keep this going and see what happens. Mark says, if an IRS agent is smiling at you, be worried. I guess so, maybe. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, to join in on the discussion and join in the discussion. I really appreciate you being involved with what we're trying to do here. I want us to ultimately be able to interact with each other on a human level, even if that communication is just a smile. Just a smile, just an acknowledgement, just a head nod, just a wink of the eye. Hey, I see you. You're human and you're important. And I notice you and I appreciate you. I think that goes a long way. All of us want to feel appreciated. So if we can do even the smaller things, the smallest things, it doesn't cost anything. And like Marilyn said, if you give a smile away, you've got plenty more. You won't run out. So thank you very much for all that you do. Thanks for watching. And I hope to see you here in about an hour. We don't have a 4 o'clock newscast today, but we do have the 5 and the 6, and I'll be looking for you there. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you. Thank you, Antoinette. Blessings to you as well. Thank you. Take care, guys. Talk to you later.